Hello, I'm Commissioner Liz Houseman. Welcome to The View from North Fulton. We have a great program for you today. In March of 2013, the Board of Commissioners voted to bring Lifeline Animal Services on board to take over the day-to-day operations, marketing, and management of the Fulton County Animal Shelter on Marietta Street. They have had a very challenging yet very successful first year. With us today on the show is Rebecca Guinn, Executive Director and founder of the Lifeline Animal Project. Also joining us is Lara Hudson, the Fulton County Shelter Facility Manager. They may have brought along a special friend to join us a little later in the show. So please stay tuned and we will be right back. Welcome back. Our guest today is Rebecca Guinn, the founder of Lifeline Animal Project. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here.
Great.
So you are the founder of Lifeline.
I am.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about your background and what led you to form this organization?
Well, before I got into animal welfare at all, I was a criminal defense attorney in the Atlanta area. I specialized in white-collar criminal defense. And I had an experience with a county animal shelter where I had found a dog and the dog ended up in the shelter. I'd called animal control. And in that experience, I realized the kind of problem that we have here in the Atlanta area. And back at that time, in 2001, over 100,000 animals were being euthanized in the 20-county metro area. In that particular county at the time, it was about 85% of the animals that entered the shelter died there. And that was true also in Fulton County at the time as well. And it was something I felt compelled to do something about.
Well, as you know, Fulton County does the animal control service for the entire county, all 14 cities and the unincorporated area. It's a large, large county.
It is.
You've been on the job for about a year.
Right.
I know there's been some significant changes. Why don't you tell us about your first year?
It's been a great year. I think it's been a really great year for us. It's been a great year working with the county. One of the most significant changes is the new fleet. We have 14 animal control vehicles that we're able to use in this very large county. And that's a result of your actions to bring those trucks to us. We've made some significant improvements inside the shelter. The Fulton County shelter was built in 1978. There's a plaque on the wall there, and it's my understanding it was originally built to house 80 animals, and we can have up to 400 animals in the shelter at any time. So we've had to make some changes there. We very early on were the recipient of a grant from Purina Cat Chow with their 50 Years 50 Shelters program, where we were able to create a free roaming cat room and create a cat adoption area, and that's really helped us with the cats. And we made a lot of changes in some of the processes and got some really great staff on board as well.
Well, we did try to rehabilitate the facility somewhat. I know that you're right, it's an old building and there's limitations on what you can do, but
But actually, it's looking pretty good. I mean, the county put a new roof in.
Right.
We were able to get some great skylights, so we have some natural light coming into the kennel. And Lifeline was able to add, I'm very proud of our double-wide vet trailer. We were able to add that to the property. So, you know, it's come a long way in a year.
And for the viewers' benefit, where is the shelter located?
We're at 860 Marietta Boulevard, and that is across the street, kind of across the street from the Fulton County Jail.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Now, obviously, you want to reduce the population. You don't want people to have their animals end up in the shelter.
Right.
But if someone has an issue with a pet, what should they do?
They should call us. I mean, if you see a dog at large in your neighborhood, or particularly if you witness animal cruelty, you should definitely call Fulton County Animal Services, and we do have really 24-hour service, emergency calls at night. If you're in a situation where you feel like you may need to surrender your pet, please give us a call. We have surrender counselors available to talk to you about what issues you might be having. If, say, it's something where you need, additional pet food for your pet, or that kind of thing, we're able to provide those resources. So we work to keep pets out of the shelter as well.
And tell me a typical situation. What happens when an animal arrives at the shelter?
Well, if our animal control officers say they are able to bring a dog in on one of the trucks, the first thing we do is we'll examine the dog. We vaccinate all of our animals on entry.
Okay.
So they get vaccinated for any kind of distemper parvo, or cats get what's called the FVRCP vaccine. We immediately scan for a microchip, and we're really excited. We've been able to add microchip scanners to all the trucks. So the officers are able to actually scan in the field, and we're able to get an identification in the field. The officer can return the pet right in the field. So, but we scan every animal for a microchip. Pictures taken, and our animals are put online immediately when they come in. So you can check our website. It's FultonAnimalServices.com.
Okay.
If you've lost your pet, it's the first place to check, but you also need to come to the shelter.
Okay. So you can go online and you can look, or you can call if you can't find your pet.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Okay. And then I know that you've really focused on adoption.
We have.
Tell
absolutely.
us about that.
Well, we run adoption promotions every month. We try to come up with something unique and clever to get the public in. We're trying to raise the profile of the Fulton County Shelter, let people know that we're there and that there are great pets there for adoption. So we ran a promotion, for example, over Memorial Day weekend. We adopted 50 animals, which is great for Memorial Day. And we are actually, for Memorial Day, waiving the fee for the adoptions. So we try to do different promotions all the time to really keep interest.
Well, I will tell you that I've tried searching as to where I heard this, but I did recall hearing this weekend that the fee had been waived, and I don't think it was an internal memo, so the word was getting out, so that's very good.
We did a press release, and the AJC picked it up, and I think In Town Atlanta also picked it up. So we also work with a PR company to bring more publicity to the shelter and really drive adoptions.
And when a pet comes in, you do make an effort to try and locate the owner as well?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. The easiest way, if your pet is lost, if you have a Fulton County pet registration, a license on your pet, that's the best way for your pet to be identified. And also we're really encouraging microchipping. And both the licensing and microchipping is something we want to push in our second year in the community.
Well, it is required that you have a tag on your animal, isn't it?
As a matter of fact, it is, yes.
And what do you need to do to get that tag?
Once your pet is vaccinated for rabies, you can call us for information. You can go on our website and you can actually register your pet online. We have online registration.
Very
you can
good.
also do it at the shelter. And if you're uncomfortable with doing that online, you can print out the application and mail it in as well.
Well, not only does it make it easier to locate an owner if a pet does get lost, it's just, it's a law that you're supposed to register those pets.
It is absolutely a law.
Is that one of the things that you can get a fine for if you have not registered your pet?
You can get fined for not having a tag in Fulton County, and also that's also your proof of rabies vaccination. So you very likely can be fined for not having the rabies vaccination. And the rabies vaccination is also the law.
Okay, and is that part of what happens when a pet is picked up? Is if you can't find the records, or if there's no record, then there is a citation issued at some point?
It depends on the circumstance, but yes, for the most part, we'll have to issue a citation for no tag and no rabies vaccination.
Okay. Now, you mentioned at the beginning of our talk about the euthanasia rates and the improvements that we've made. Would you share that with our viewing audience, please?
I mean, we're working all the time. Our goal is to save every savable animal. And what that means is that if an animal comes into our care and the animal's healthy or treatable, we want to be able to save that animal. We want that animal to leave our shelter alive. So we do everything we can to do that, whether it's adoption or working with local rescue groups. We're even initiating a transport program to the Northeast. So with that, we've reduced our euthanasia rate. From the time we got there, it was hovering around 65%, and we're now in the 20% range. So we're looking at it's a big change. I mean, we're looking at about an 80% live release rate, and our goal is to do even better.
And I know that you have a lot of volunteers that you count on to help run the shelter and run the operations. Tell us what a typical volunteer might do, and if you're interested in becoming a volunteer, how you can get involved.
You can certainly email us at volunteer@fultonanimalservices.com. Look at our website. We've got some evening dog walking things for the volunteers. We've got something called Charm School, where the volunteers are actually engaged in helping make the dogs really show a little better when people come into the shelter. Our volunteers are vital to our offsite adoptions. In our first year, we did over 140 offsite adoption events.
Wow.
And volunteers, they're the ones that make that possible. And then we've got some people who have volunteered at the Fulton shelter, I think, maybe 30 years. I mean, people who are very dedicated to it and keeping us honest, and also making sure that the animals are well cared for.
Well, we certainly appreciate your compassion that you've brought to the operation and just the love that you show the animals in the community. It's very apparent.
Thank you.
And we appreciate it very much.
Thanks.
Thank you for taking a minute to come and visit with us today.
Absolutely.
Thank you for starting Lifeline.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity.
And I have great hope that your rates will continue to drop, and that no one will lose a pet, but if they do, that it's easy for the owner to find their loved one. So
Absolutely.
We appreciate that.
All right, thank you.
And stay with us. We'll be right back to meet the shelter facility manager, Lara Hudson, and she might have brought a special friend with her. So stay tuned. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Joining me now is Lara Hudson, the Director of Fulton County Animal Services. Lara, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. I'm so glad to be here.
Now, that's a Fulton County title, but you are technically a Lifeline employee, is that correct?
That is correct.
And y'all have been in our operations for about a year.
Yes, we have.
Tell us about the first year. Tell us what you're doing.
Well, it's been a long year, but I think that we've come out pretty much on top. We were able to, one of our first goals was to obviously increase the live release rate, and that's the percentage of animals that leave the shelter either through an adoption or transferred to a rescue organization or hopefully return to their owner. And we were able to increase that from what was previously about 30%, as Rebecca had said earlier, to now about 80% every month. We are trying to create a more humane housing environment for the residents that are living there temporarily in hopes of getting another home. And we also want to work proactively with the community as a field service operation to reach out and give people more information and resources of how they can provide for their animals, where they can go if they need assistance with any animal issues that they have. And we're more than happy to go out and speak to any organizations or groups who would like to use us for a speaking engagement to let people know what we are doing there at Fulton County Animal Services and how we can help.
So lots of changes in the last year.
Lots of changes.
What would you say is the most significant change?
The most significant change? I think probably saying yes to people who are wanting to help. it's really simple. Organizations who want to rescue animals, anyone that has a question about animals, anyone that needs us to go and speak with them about any animal issues, anyone that wants to come in and adopt an animal. Yes, we want to help you make that happen so that we can save more lives and that we can provide safety for the public.
Well, speaking of animals, I think we might have a special guest with us today. If
We do.
wanna, bring him up.
This is Frank, and he's one of the 25 or so animals we receive every day, 7 days a week at the animal shelter.
Wow.
He's probably at least 5 years old, and he's been with us for about 3 weeks, and he needs a home.
And he is a stray, correct?
He came in as a stray, correct. He didn't have, if he would have had a tag, a license tag, we could have contacted his owners immediately. If he would have had a microchip that was registered, we could have contacted his owners immediately
Right.
because he seems well cared for, and I'm sure somebody is missing him, but it's hard to reunite the dogs with their owners and the cats because they can't tell us where they live.
Now, you work with a lot of rescue groups, right?
We work with about 40 different rescue groups, yes.
So is he part of that effort, or how does it work?
We do send a lot of animals to rescue, about 125 a month. We try to keep some of the smaller animals available
Okay.
for local residents to adopt because we do have some people that come in and they want a small house dog or lap dog, and we want to keep some of them here. But if it came to the point where we didn't think somebody here in Fulton County was going to take Mr. Frank home, we would certainly send him to a rescue organization where they may have better luck.
Well, again, we talked about what a pet owner needs to do in order to register their animal. I know that when a stray or someone loses their pet and that comes into the shelter, you might find yourself with a citation after that happens. Tell us about that process that we want to avoid.
Yes, we do want to avoid it, and we are certainly here to help first and foremost. So I want people to know that if you do have a stray loose animal and you need to find it, we're certainly not going to penalize you if you come down to the shelter and write you a ticket for dog at large. But there is an ordinance in Fulton County that your animal cannot run without a leash, stray, and obviously if your animal gets out, you're not only running the risk of having to pay a fine or having to go to court for a day, but they may get in trouble. I mean, there are a lot of cars in Fulton County, and you don't want your beloved pet to end up at an animal shelter. Even the best animal shelter is still a homeless shelter. So, but there is an ordinance in Fulton County, and running at large is the charge.
Yes, and I know you have a big education outreach effort in the community to inform folks of what to do. And that's part of why you're here today, not only to talk about the progress that we've made, but to make sure that people understand that there is a resource and what they should do. So can you tell us about that?
Yes, certainly. We in fact, just recently, the weekend before last, we held a community event in College Park. It's the south part of Fulton County, and we vaccinated 400 animals for free, and we signed up 398 free spay and neuters. We are certainly available if anybody wants us to come and speak with their homeowners associations. I get several requests for homeowners associations to come and answer questions for citizens, and I haven't said no yet to anyone who has asked for help with that. But we also have community outreach volunteers who go out into the community and work to help repair fences or offer a crate for a dog or a house for a dog that doesn't have one. Anything we can do to keep those pets in their homes and keep them out of the shelter, we rarely say no to the request for help.
So say someone wants to adopt this cute little guy or another one of your pets that you currently have. Walk us through what they would need to do, what that process is like.
Absolutely. So we're open 7 days a week. So you just need to either go online and kind of get an idea of who you're interested in.
And are all your animals online?
They're all online, and it's updated immediately. As soon as an animal comes in, their picture goes up on our website.
Very good.
And they would just need to come in and meet the dog or cat, and they're welcome to bring their own pet in for a meet and greet. We have a little exercise yard that they can introduce each other to and kind of get an idea how they might get along. And then they would sit down with an adoption counselor who can answer any questions they may have and help them find the best match for their particular home. Some people have a big fenced-in yard and a big German Shepherd dog who needs a friend to run with, so they probably would be more interested in a lab or a larger dog that could run and be a companion for that animal. And then there's some people who may come in and they watch TV a lot and they're not real active and they want a little dog like Frank that can sit on their lap, and our adoption counselors are there to help them with that.
He loves to sit on your lap, doesn't he?
He's so sweet. He's so sweet.
Very, very sweet.
I used to say I wish I could take all of them home, so that's why I work at an animal shelter.
Well, you know, we know what progress you've made so far, but you're just getting started. I'm curious what your plans are for the upcoming year and what your goals might be.
Oh, yes, yeah, of course. We have done a lot of good, but there's always more work to be done, and there certainly is. One of the things we're going to try to focus on in the second year is being more proactive in the community, and not only trying to prevent animals from coming into the shelter to begin with through microchipping and licensing that I think Rebecca had mentioned earlier, but we also want the community to know that we are there if they see any violations, if they witness any animal cruelty or any animal neglect. We have a task force that's being trained, and an animal cruelty team that can respond to those inquiries. And we want people to pick up the phone and call and let us know, even if there's, you know, a suspicion. We want to help people in the community. So I think that's what we're going to focus on mostly for this next year, is preventing animals from coming in to begin with through education programs and resources, and to help animals that are in situations where you know, they may not be in the best possible place that they could be.
So if you do see something happening, or if, you know, a terrible thing happens and you are attacked by a stray dog or something of that nature happens, do they call the police first, call you, you coordinate with the police? How does that work?
All of the above. I would ask for them first to call and get medical attention as quickly as they can.
Right.
You know, call an ambulance or an emergency medical person to come out and assist them. Call animal control. Call the police department. We do work with all of the jurisdictions in the north part of Fulton County, and I've actually sent out an email to each police district asking if they would like to get together, and we can open up lines of communication so that we can work together moving forward to prevent, you know, those times where bites happen, and we don't want to have to get those calls. And you know, I have a son, and I don't know what I would do if, you know, a stray dog were to bite him, and I know it happens.
It does.
So we really need to work together as a community, not only to react when things like that happen, but to put policies and procedures in place to prevent it from happening to begin with.
Absolutely, absolutely. So you're talking about having some sort of summit or something with the police in the area?
Yes, absolutely.
Fabulous, fabulous.
That's what one of our two goals for this second year.
Well, and real quick, we're almost out of time. I do want to have some information about your new cat facility. I know you got a big grant. What did y'all do with it?
Oh, we did. Oh, that's great. Well, our adoption and cat area used to be 2 storage closets, and those 2 storage closets were shared by 4 adoption counselors.
Wow.
And then we had cats in cages all along this beautiful window area in the front of the county shelter. So we were able to get some people to come in and redesign that entire room. They took out the closets, they removed all of the cages. We were able to bring in some nice updated furniture and shelving to save floor space. And the best part of it is now all of our cats are free roaming. It's free range cattery, so that people can come in, and instead of trying to pick their cats through the cage and stick their finger in between the cage and get to know the cat, they can sit down like we are right now.
Oh, wow.
And the cats are roaming around, and the cats can kind of pick them instead of them pick the cats, which happens very often.
Very cool.
They just sit down, and whoever jumps on their lap first is going home, so they can kind of sell themselves. It's so nice. I really, if you haven't been down there, or if anyone hasn't been down there, I really encourage you to come by and see what we've done. It's been a great improvement and quite a difference if you haven't been recently.
Well, we could talk for hours
We
about this
could.
subject. I know we could. And you're such a sweetheart.
I know,
I hope that you'll be adopted soon by a very loving family. But it looks like he's in pretty good hands right now, temporarily. So
I hope he thinks so.
thank you so much for being with us.
Really, it was a pleasure. I appreciate it.
And thank you for all you've done to help with our animal control situation in Fulton County. We really appreciate it.
Well, it's an honor, really.
Well, we're glad to have you.
Thank you.
And we will be right back with my closing comments, so don't go away. Since Lifeline has taken over our shelter operations, they have truly made a positive difference. In fact, this past May, Lifeline was honored by our own Fulton County District Attorney, Paul Howard, as the recipient of the Animal Defender Award, a national award given by the Association of Prosecuting Attorneys. They are also the largest low-cost spay-neuter resource in the region and have the first feral cat trap, neuter, return in the metro area. Accolades aside, this is a tough job, and we are grateful that they are taking steps continually to improve our responsibilities to the animals in our care. While all of us animal lovers want to have the goal of every shelter in the country a no-kill shelter and every abandoned or lost pet in a safe and loving home, each step matters. We are moving in the right direction, and we are encouraging you to do your part to make the lives of our pets that much better. To report a stray animal or a bite or an incident, a trapped or injured animal, or for lost pets and questions regarding licensing, the shelter is open 7 days a week. The telephone number is 404-613-0358. For more information, visit Facebook at Friends of Fulton County Animal Services or their website at www.lifelineanimal.org for more information about pet adoptions and ways to help you have a happy life with your pet. Well, that's my view. What's yours? For any questions or concerns regarding today's topic or any others, please contact my office at 404-612-8213, or you can email me at liz.houseman@fultoncountyga.gov. You can also reach me on Facebook and Twitter. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time on The View from North Fulton.